Buckle up, because we're about to jump into the wild adventures of Alexander the Great. It's gonna be a thrilling ride, trust me. Let's check out how he charges toward the legendary city of Babylon, making history along the way. The dust had barely settled on the plains of Gaugamela when Alexander the Great, having secured his overwhelming victory, resumed his relentless pursuit of the fleeing Darius III. However, Darius, with a significant head start, managed to escape eastward into the mountainous region of Media, hoping to raise yet another army in the eastern Cyclopes. Alexander, realizing the pursuit was momentarily futile, turned his attention to the rich prize of Babylon, the administrative and cultural heart of Mesopotamia and one of the greatest cities of the ancient world. As Alexander's army marched south towards Babylon, they were met by Mazaeus, the Persian satrap of Babylonia. Mazaeus had commanded Darius' powerful cavalry on the Persian left wing at Gaugamela, and had fought bravely, even causing considerable trouble for Parmenian's Macedonian left wing. However, with Darius defeated and fled, Mazaeus recognized the futility of further resistance. Accompanied by his adult sons, he rode out to meet Alexander, not as an enemy, but as a supplicant, offering the surrender of Babylon and its vast treasures. Alexander, always pragmatic and eager to secure such an important city peacefully, received Mazaeus graciously. Alexander's entry into Babylon in late October 331 BCE was a carefully orchestrated triumph, designed to present him as a liberator and legitimate ruler, not a destructive foreign conqueror. The city was one of the oldest and most revered in the world, steeped in millennia of history, famed for its ziggurat, Etemenanke, the legendary Tower of Babel, its magnificent Ishtar Gate, its massive defensive walls, and its legendary, though perhaps mythical by this time, hanging gardens. The Babylonians had a complex relationship with their Achaemenid Persian rulers. While generally allowed to practice their own customs, they had revolted on occasion and sometimes felt their ancient traditions were not fully respected. Xerxes, for example, had harshly suppressed a Babylonian revolt a century and a half earlier, reportedly damaging temples and melting down the golden statue of their chief god, Marduk-Bel. As Alexander approached, the streets were lined with cheering crowds. People scattered flowers in his path and burned incense on silver altars. Bagaphanes, the Persian commander of Babylon's citadel and guardian of its treasury, had lavishly decorated the route of Alexander's procession. The Chaldean priests, the influential magi, and city notables came out to welcome him. Alexander, riding in a chariot, made a grand ceremonial entry. Keenly aware of the historical and symbolic significance of the moment, once inside the city, Alexander's actions were calculated to win the loyalty of the Babylonians. His first and most important act was to pay homage to Marduk, the patron deity of Babylon. He ordered the restoration of the temples that Xerxes had damaged or destroyed, particularly the great Esagila temple complex dedicated to Marduk. He offered rich sacrifices to Marduk, according to ancient Babylonian rites, guided by the Chaldean priests. This display of respect for their principal god and their religious traditions was immensely popular with the Babylonians and contrasted sharply with the perceived impiety of some earlier Persian rulers. In his administrative arrangements for Babylonia, Alexander displayed both astuteness and a willingness to co-opt former enemies. In a surprising but politically shrewd move, he reappointed Mazaeus, the Persian noble who had just fought against him at Gaugamela, as satrap of Babylonia. This was a clear signal that Alexander was willing to incorporate cooperative members of the old Persian aristocracy into his new imperial structure, ensuring continuity of administration and potentially winning over other Persian nobles. However, Alexander strategically divided power, while Mazaeus controlled the civil administration and revenue collection. The military command of the province and the garrison in Babylon were entrusted to Macedonians, Apollodorus of Amphipolis and Menes of Pella. Financial oversight was given to Asclepiodorus. This division of authority was a characteristic feature of Alexander's imperial governance, designed to prevent any single individual from becoming too powerful. Alexander remained in Babylon for over a month, allowing his army a well-deserved rest after the rigors of the Gaugamela campaign. The city's wealth and luxuries provided ample opportunity for relaxation and celebration. However, Alexander himself did not remain idle. He received reinforcements, attended to administrative matters, and planned the next stages of his campaign. He also engaged with the Chaldean priests and scholars, showing an interest in their astronomical knowledge and ancient learning. The peaceful surrender of Babylon was a major triumph for Alexander. It gave him control of one of the empire's most important cities and its vast resources without a fight. It demonstrated the effectiveness of his policy of presenting himself as a legitimate successor to Oriental kingship, respectful of local customs and religions. This approach encouraged other regions to submit peacefully, saving lives and resources. Babylon, with its strategic location and immense prestige, became a key administrative center in Alexander's rapidly expanding empire. Its treasures also significantly bolstered his finances, allowing him to pay his troops and fund future operations. As Alexander prepared to leave Babylon and march toward Susa, another of the Persian Empire's great capitals, he left behind a city that had largely embraced his rule. His stay in Babylon marked a significant step in his transformation from a Macedonian king and Greek hegemon into the ruler of a vast, multicultural Near Eastern empire. The splendors of Babylon had not seduced him into complacency. Rather, they seemed to have further fueled his ambition to possess all that the Persian Empire had to offer. If you enjoyed our video, give that like button a little love, subscribe to our channel, and share the vlogs with all your history-loving friends. We really appreciate it.